Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us for our webinar today. American Business Systems presents Using Technology to Grow Your Medical Billing Business. Well, most of you that are attending this webinar, I'm thinking probably don't have your medical billing business even started yet, but you're seriously considering it because well, you probably have done some research and you probably have discovered that there is a pretty big market for medical billing services and other revenue cycle management services for medical practices. Doctors all across the country are having a really hard time managing their money, and they are starting to realize, you know what, if I have somebody outside the office doing some of this stuff for me, like the insurance billing, the medical billing, and some other things, you know, it allows the doctor to really focus on practicing medicine. That's all really that they're really good at. You know, they don't go to school for business. And so they're typically not really good money managers. And so what they need is they need a good money manager to be on their team. And that can be you. We can show you how to start your own business helping manage doctors' money. And the thing that's really going to set you apart is the kick butt technology that you're going to have if you join American Business Systems and go through our program. So that's what this webinar is about today, showing you how you're going to have such a huge advantage with the systems and technologies that we have in place. So what we'd like to do before we get going here is we always like to make sure that we are being heard loud and clear. If you see the little Q&A box somewhere at the bottom of your Zoom panel, if you could type that in, just type in that you can hear me. You can say hello. You can say, yes, I can hear you. You can say, no, I can't hear you. Just kidding. I don't know. Just let us know that I'm being heard. Okay, great. We've got some answers coming in here. Alex says, yes, I can hear you. Esther, yes, I can hear you. Thanks, Esther. Jonathan saying he can hear me. Kathy can hear me. Okay, that is really awesome. Thank you for letting me know that there. And keep in mind that that Q&A box is where you're going to want to type in questions that we will continue to remind you as we go here. That is where type any question in there about the business or services or software or whatever, and we will get to those questions as we go here momentarily. So I'm going to do a little bit of intro work before we get going with the meat of this thing. I am Adam Phillips. I am the CEO of American Business Systems. I'm actually the son of the founders of the company. My parents actually started this company in 1994. But what I want to do real quick is tell you about my new book that came out. So we've been mentioning this on the past 3 or 4 or 5 webinars. I just released this book called 9 Ways Doctors Let Money Slip Through Their Fingers. This book was written by myself and one of our partners, Dr. Vicki Rackner. She is a retired surgeon who had a lot of success in her practice by outsourcing her billing and let somebody else handle her billing. We partnered with her, and she actually has her own business now helping people market to doctors, which is exactly what our folks need. So we've been happy to partner with her. That book, by the way, is one of our many, many marketing tools that we have available to you when you become a licensee of our company. And it does one thing. It educates the doctor. I'm sorry, it does more than one thing. It educates the doctors on their revenue cycle and helping them understand what's going on and ways to improve. And it builds trust with the doctors and you. And that's what this is all about. That's the only way to get business from doctors and get them to want to do business with you, is if you build trust with them and they understand that you have a lot of different ways to help them and help them, focus on their practicing medicine and building their practices. So if anyone on this webinar wants an ebook version of that book, by the way, I'm feeling generous today. You can just reach out to us, reach out to the rep that sent you this webinar invite, and we will send you a free copy of that book. So just ask for that. You're welcome. All right, so now let's move on. Here's a picture of my parents, smiling, happy parents here. They actually started this company way back in 1994. Even prior to that, my mother was actually doing medical billing in the 80s under a different little company name that they had come up with. And I actually remember my mother using a typewriter to do medical claim forms. For those of you who are younger, a typewriter is a mechanical device that you used to put a piece of paper into, and you would type on it and the letters would smash onto the paper. And I'm sure most of you know what a typewriter is. Anyway, we started doing billing in the 80s and then formed ABS in 94 because my dad is kind of the marketing genius. And he figured out how to teach other people how to put together the software and the marketing materials and the training, and how to help people avoid the marketing mistakes that they made whenever they were first starting out. So we've been doing this for a long time. We've got hundreds and hundreds of happy owners all over the country, and we would love for you to be a part of the company as well. So as I mentioned a minute ago, we have a lot more than just medical billing, and this is really the key thing. This is what's going to set you apart. There are a lot of people doing medical billing out there. I mean, it's all over the place. If you Google medical billing services in your area, you're going to find a lot of results. But what you will find as you start clicking around, first of all, you'll see a bunch of crummy looking websites, and you can tell right away it's kind of a mom and pop, operation. And all of these sites that you'll find, all these companies, they're just doing one thing. They're just doing medical billing, and that's it. So if a doctor needs help with remote patient monitoring, or maybe a HIPAA compliancy service, or a Medicare audit protection, or coding, or maybe collection services, they can't offer all the things like what you can. And so these boxes right here just kind of symbolize all the different services and solutions that you'll have at your disposal, and it's really going to set you apart from the competition, as you'll find out. If you have not seen our virtual brochure, you definitely want to check that out. Our main website is absystems.com. I'm sure you've seen that. But if you haven't dug a little bit deeper, go click on the virtual brochure button in the top right corner. You'll fill out just a quick little name and email in this form here. And then when you click that little orange button to get access, you'll get immediate access to the virtual brochure, where you can actually download what we call our research guide. And this is what you're really going to want to dig into. The research guide is I think it's up to 60 pages now. It's a PDF document that actually goes into a ton of detail on our business model, the industry, the health of the industry, all the different services that we have, how the services work, how much money you can make on each one of them. So you definitely want to go give that a read whenever you get a chance. Here's another reminder. You're going to see these as we go along here. Type in the questions. Any questions that comes up, type it in. No question is too silly. Just type whatever question you want to, and we'll get to them as we go here during the webinar. All right. So now let's get into the meat of this thing. I have invited my VP of Business Development to join me. It's my best friend. He's been with the company for a long, long time, 15, 16 years. I don't know. I lost track. It's been a long time. But let's go ahead and see if we can bring him on here and tell us what you got for us today, Jason.
Hey, everybody. Good to be here. Adam, thanks for having me. Thanks for the nice words. Good to know we're still best friends.
We are. All these years. Coming in loud and clear. So.
And for those of you who may be on a webinar for the first time and have not heard the ABS story, I joined ABS 16 years ago. Actually, October is my anniversary month for 16 years. And I've known Adam for quite a bit longer than that. I've known Adam since I was in the 6th grade. So, ABS is a family-owned and operated business. You saw Adam showing the slides with his parents, Patrick and Linda, that started the business way back in the early 90s. So we've all punched the clock in corporate America and toiled through the bureaucratic meetings and TPS reports and everything. And I'll tell you, it's really, really nice to be a part of an organization like American Business Systems that actually cares. If we need to get something done, we can roll up our sleeves and do it. We don't have to have board meetings and all that kind of stuff. So it's great to be a part of ABS, and certainly thankful to be here. I want to give a quick shout out to some of my friends that I'm working with through the ABS due diligence process. Alex, I see you on the call today. Glad to have you here, and Ahmad, you as well. We'll have to catch up very soon, Ahmad, inshallah, my friend. Tom, good to see you here as well, and Susan as well. It's great to have you guys join us today. So thanks for taking some time out of your day. Let's jump into today's topic. Today, we're going to talk about technology and how our owners use technology to grow their businesses. It's one of the tool belts in the arsenal. As Adam mentioned a few minutes ago, you have all kinds of ways that you can help doctors, office managers, and the physician staff increase their productivity and, most importantly, increase their revenue. We're going to focus specifically today on some of the things that our software platform and our technology partners are able to do to help our owners become an indispensable tool for their physician clients. If you don't know already, our platform is called iClaim. That's our billing and practice management system. We also have an electronic health records charting system that is called EMRX. This is a fully integrated browser-based solution that will work on any device on planet Earth with an internet connection and a web browser. We blow every other package out of the water. A lot of times when you're talking about software platforms in this industry, you're talking about really clunky systems. You have to install it on your device. You have to download the application, install it. Most of these types of software platforms are only compatible with Windows computers. If you're on a Mac, sometimes you can make it work, but it is not an elegant solution. We have the advantage, and our owners have the advantage of not having to mess with any of that stuff. We don't even have to ask what devices the doctor and their team uses. Do they have web browsers? Yes, they do. Do they have an internet connection? Of course they do. So they can use our platform, no problem. I'm going to throw a couple statistics out there. If you've worked with me and we've had conversations together, you've probably heard me say this many times, but check this out. Over half of the doctors that do a demo of our system move forward with an implementation and the billing service of our owners. Let me say that again, because if you've been in sales and marketing and somebody tells you that the demo stage of their sales process has over a 50% closing ratio, it's almost absurd. It's so high. Over half of the doctors that see a demo of our system move forward. It's absolutely incredible. We're going to go through today some different areas of the system and some of our sales process related to demos to show you exactly why we get such an incredibly high closing ratio. Now, if you think 50% plus closing ratio is high, wait until you talk to our director of support, Tim Warren. So Tim, he does his own demos. If you've ever talked with Tim, he is on our reference list. I definitely recommend putting him on your call list to reach out to. Tim will tell you that he does his own demos, his own proposals and everything, and he's just a magician at this stuff. He has over a 90% closing ratio on his demos. It almost sounds ridiculous, but when you meet Tim and you get to know him, you'll understand why. He's just the best at what he does. By the way, he's going to be working directly with you to walk you through the same processes that he uses to get these deals done, to get doctors on the demos, and to acquire clients. So you have a huge asset there. Go ahead, Adam, add some color onto our discussion.
Yeah, those are pretty incredible numbers there. Just to clarify for folks, Tim is a licensee of our company, and he actually has people that he has hired that is running his billing business for him. So he has offered his time, and of course we pay him handsomely, but he's offered his time to be our director of support. And so isn't it really great to know that the director of our support department is an actual licensee, and he's been in the trenches just where you will be, when you're going through this business. And so that's what I wanted to make sure everybody on the webinar understood the relationship there. But yeah, he's helped guide so many of our new owners through the process of doing the demos. And what I also wanted to mention, about the over the half, you mentioned over half are closing doing the demo. That's not just a demo and then you're done. There is a whole process, a whole series of steps that that we have kind of been perfecting over the years, that we're actually going to go through on this webinar today to show you how we're coming up with those numbers and how we are actually able to achieve such high closing ratio. But it's more involved than just a software demo, and there's several other pieces here that we're going to get into right now that I wanted to clarify. So it's not just a demo, but we're going to show you the secret sauce, if you will, on this webinar today for those getting those closing ratios. Yeah.
That's exactly right. And you almost read verbatim the next slide. I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but literally the next slide is talking about our process and how we get doctors to the point where they're looking at the demo and making that decision to move forward. It's really important to follow a tight sales process. I want to add one more thing onto the discussion about Tim and our support team and our lead trainer, Cynthia Anderson. When you're working with American Business Systems, you're not working with people who don't have any idea how this business works. They're reading off a flow chart on cue cards in front of their computer screen, and they're just hoping you don't ask a question that they don't know how to answer. We've all been a part of organizations that have that kind of support. That is not ABS. Right. Every single person you work with at American Business Systems is a successful ABS owner. Cynthia Anderson, the lead trainer that will be training you as you go through your Jumpstart training, you have 10 sessions with Cynthia, and you're working with someone who is incredibly successful in this industry. Cynthia is a rock star. She does consulting all over the US. She has clients all over the US, and she's teaching you the exact same strategies that we taught her and that we have developed over almost 3 decades in the industry. So it's an important point. When you talk with Tim, when you talk to the rest of our support team members, you're talking with really successful people who not only are able to help you with those questions, they're also able to give you that insight from their own businesses that they have seen, boots on the ground. They're out there building your business just like you are, and they can help you around those hurdles and everything. They have definitely been there and done that. So let's jump into how do we get this done? How do we get doctors on demos and then have them say at the end of the demo, "Hey, take my money. What else can I do? I've got to have the software." So in order to do that, you have to lay the groundwork first. Occasionally we'll have somebody go through ABS training. Maybe they won't pay attention as closely as we would like them to pay attention. And they go out and they start talking with the potential client, a doctor, and they come back to support and they say, "Hey, I got a doctor who's interested. I need to schedule the demo." Well, have you done a needs analysis? Well, no, I haven't done a needs analysis. They want to see the software. Mm-hmm. Hold the phone. We got to get these steps in the right order. And it's very critical that you follow the process. So what is that process? It's a pretty simple process. The very first step is to sit down with the office manager and do a very thorough needs analysis. I've done a lot of reading this year. I set a goal for myself to read 2 books a month this year. Now, not every book is a business book or a sales book or marketing book, but most of them are. I read a little bit of fiction at night before I go to sleep. But I've read a lot of sales books this year. And one of the recurring themes that I've seen in almost every one of these books, especially the modern sales books, is new sales strategies focus on listening to your client, not trying to push them, not having secret closing strategies and pulling some, magic lever in their brains to get them to buy from you. It's about listening to your customer, finding out what their needs are, and helping them solve their problems. You cannot do that if you're not at the very beginning of the process, sitting down with your potential client and asking a lot of great questions. So when you go through training, Cynthia is going to teach you how to do a really good needs analysis. We call that our practice analysis. So you're going to follow a format, and it's going to have questions that will help you develop the proposal and the numbers that you'll show the doctor of how we can improve their practice. So the practice analysis is going to generate this practice revenue report. And Adam, I might let you shed a little bit of insight on the practice revenue report.
Sure. So this is kind of what you end up with And the initial document that we give you to do this, we teach you how to do this analysis. It's very easy. It's a list of, I think it's 25, 30 questions, something like that. So they're already printed out, laid out for you to just read off and ask. Usually it's done with the office manager. It can take, 15, 20 minutes maybe to get through that. And you're asking them questions about how they're running their practice. What are your denial rates, claim rejections? What kind of money are you spending on software, hardware, staff cost, all kinds of little things that a lot of doctors don't even think about when they're factoring in how much it costs to collect their money. They don't factor in a lot of this stuff. So what you do is you're able to plug in that information, and we're going to kind of continue on with the process here in a moment and show you, but you're able to plug that information into this practice revenue report tool that we give you. That's really just a real fancy spreadsheet. That's all it is. But we have all of the fields already created for you, and you just fill in the blanks, and you're able to come up with a report that looks something like this. And if you're looking at these numbers, that top part that says current, that is what the practice is currently doing before they started working with you. And so you can see that there's a high number of rejected claims in this example. This is an example, but we actually see numbers like this all the time, real world numbers like this all the time. Rejection rates are very, very high, 10, 20%, 25%, 30% rejected claims, denied claims. And the reason why is because, like we said in the beginning, there are so many different types of software systems, and some are integrated with their EHR and some are not, their medical record system. And they, some talk to each other, some don't. There's just hundreds of different software packages and systems out there. So that's a big part of it. Another part of it is a lot of times the doctors have overworked and undertrained staff that don't really know. They either don't know what they're doing, or they know what they're doing, but they have 100 other things they have to do every day. And it's just really, really hard for them to stay on top of filing the claims in a timely manner, making sure that they're done right the first time and following up on them properly. So this is what you get. And this is something that we hand to the doctors at the end of the demo, which we're going to talk about. So
for sure. I'm going to drive this point home one more time and go backwards in our slides. We're putting extra emphasis on the practice analysis because it's so critical to have these questions answered ahead of time. How can you give a tight proposal and a good demo if you have not gathered the information about your potential client? Right. So the better you are at gathering the information and getting to know your client, the better your proposal will be. It will meet their needs more closely, and the better the demo will be as well. How does Tim, I'm going to go 2 slides back now. How does Tim have a 90% closing rate? He does amazing work in the very first contact with his potential clients. He gathers that information, and when he gives a proposal, they look at it and say, okay, how can I say no to this? They see the demo right on top of that, and it's a no-brainer. So now
let me just add to that Tim comment. He actually calls it gathering intel. So not only is he doing the practice analysis, but before the demo, he will go do a bunch of Googling and research on the practice. He'll look them up. He'll see how their website looks. He'll see if they have online intake forms. He does all kinds of research. And I'm letting you in on a little secret here on how to really make a big splash with the doctors but it was just funny because he calls it intel gathering. So that's why he's so good at it.
Imagine the opposite of that strategy. Imagine this in a different scenario. Imagine a patient doesn't feel well and they go to the doctor. This is kind of like a new potential client scenario. The patient sits down with the doctor, and instead of asking questions and trying to understand the symptoms that the patient has, what if the doctor just says, hey, I've got this great new medication. People seem to like it. Why don't we try this? What do you mean? You don't even know what's wrong with me. I mean, if you really think about this, it's preposterous. But if you're not asking good questions, you cannot give a good diagnosis and prescription or treatment. And that's what our owners do for their clients. So the next step is the proposal. When you've gathered that information and you've given the proposal is going to show some amazing things. Our owners give proposals that typically show a 20 to 30% increase in revenue for the physician. 20 to 30% increase in revenue for the doctors.
Mhm.
So we're not out there begging for business. We're out there dramatically changing the revenue cycle for these physicians. It is not uncommon for a doctor to improve their net profit every month, $10, $15, $20,000 a month. We do that all day, every day with our owners. So when you're handing a proposal to a doctor, it shows that kind of increase in revenue. And then alongside that proposal, we're with the demo showing the doctor how we're going to solve their most frustrating operational problems. That 1-2 punch closes a lot of deals for our owners.
Yeah, and we one of the other things that makes it really a home run is you can actually present the revenue report that we showed earlier to our team, and we can not only help you craft a killer proposal based on the information that we see in that revenue report, but we can also craft a killer demo. So that's one of the things that we do for you. Our demo team will do a demo for your potential client, and we are able to customize that demo based on several different things, like finding out what specialty they are. We have certain specialties that we can log in and show, things that are related to that specialty that are going to be really important to that doctor, all kinds of stuff to really drive home the technology. And that's another thing that is causing such a high closing ratio, is the customization of the demos and the killer proposals that we help you do.
Sometimes I try to put this in a different context, because sometimes it's difficult for people that we're working with that are not familiar with how a private practice runs, and they don't really understand what type of revenue doctors see and what kind of changes can happen. So I put it in an income scenario. Most of us have earned a regular paycheck from a company that we've worked for. So imagine this. Imagine your boss comes to you and says, hey, Adam, in this case, Adam, I'm going to be your boss.
All right.
Okay. Adam, you've been doing a great job. You're making $100,000 a year. We're going to give you a 20% raise. How does that sound?
Sounds great. Let's do it.
Obviously, 20%. So we're going to take you from $100,000 a year to $120,000 a year. Pretty great. All right. So what's your next question going to be? All right. What's the catch, right?
Yeah.
What do I have to do? Do I have to come in on Saturdays and Sundays? Do I have to, come over to your house and wash your car? Do I have to watch your kids on the weekend? Like, what's the catch here?
Right.
What if then, as your manager, I said, no, actually, we need you to decrease your work. We need you to take every Friday off. I mean, when I'm telling this, to folks that I'm working with, the laughter starts. It's preposterous. 20% raise and take every Friday off. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So then you say, obviously, there's got to be some kind of catch. Okay, yeah, there's a catch. Here's the catch. The company got a new HR payroll third-party provider, and they take 6% of the total salary from every single person in the company. So you're getting the raise, you're getting $120,000 a year, you're getting Fridays off, but we've got to take out the 6%. It's a ridiculous scenario, but do you take the deal? Absolutely.
Yeah, sounds pretty good.
Every day of the week, you're taking 6% out of a 20% increase. You're still getting Fridays off. Your net is still going to be above what you're making. It is a no-brainer. That's exactly what we do for doctors. We decrease their workload. We make their processes more efficient. We free them up to spend more time with patients and with their families if they want, or in a lot of cases on the golf course. And we maximize the revenue and get net profit in their pocket that they were previously given away. So kind of a silly scenario, but I found that plays pretty well to talk about what we're able to do for physicians.
Yeah, I thought you were going to give the example on the other side of, like, they only get 70 cents out of every dollar, but we can talk about that one later.
Similar scenario.
Yeah.
Helping them recover that gap between what they're billing out and what they're actually collecting. That's another thing that we certainly help with. So when we give these proposals, our owners are, given these proposals, and then the doctor is going to say, okay, yeah, how are you going to do this? How in the world are you going to take my revenue, up 20, 30%? How are you going to fix all these problems? I've worked with 3, 4, 5 different billing companies. I've tried 3 or 4 different software solutions. This is the same song and dance. How are you going to do this? Well,
That
guess
guy
what?
looks very skeptical, by the way. Very skeptical.
He does look very skeptical. He's basically the doctor, the photo that I go to for the skeptical, mean doctor. He's not having it. He's not going to just take your word for it, for sure. So how do we demonstrate to the physician, the office manager, and sometimes their staff how we're going to accomplish these things? Well, just like we said in the beginning of the demo, at the beginning of the webinar, we do a software demonstration for the physician, the office manager, and anyone else in the practice that needs to be a part of it. And we show exactly how we're going to solve those little frustrating problems that the physician has in their workflows. We're going to help tighten up efficiencies. We're going to figure out where the holes are in the boat, and we're going to plug the holes. And we're going to get them back to operational efficiency and increase their revenue. We show them right on the screen. I'm going to throw back to what you said a minute ago. One of the reasons that the practice analysis is so critically important to do first, and the better our owners are at doing the practice analysis, the more clients they get and the easier it is to get clients. Because when it comes time to do the demo, that practice analysis information is given to our technology partner, and they utilize that information about the practice to customize the demo so that the doctor is getting a sort of personalized prescription right there on screen. Adam, do you want to talk a little bit about our technology partner and our liaison team and some of the benefits that we have?
Sure, yeah. So for those of you that don't know, iClaim and EMRX, those are our white label brand names that we came up with several years ago. But what we have done is we have partnered with some of the biggest healthcare technology companies in the nation. And that's part of the reason why we decided to do a webinar on that today, because we're so proud of the relationships that we have. You see, our expertise, ABS, our expertise is business development, marketing, getting the clients, getting the doctors to sign on the dotted line with you. That's our expertise. So we didn't want to try to spend millions of dollars reinventing the wheel when we knew there was good technology out there. So our partner that we have been with for the past several years is NextGen, NEXTGEN. You can look them up online. They've been around for many, many, many years. They have some of the best highly rated technologies out there when it comes to private practice, practice management, billing, and electronic medical record systems. So we are very proud to be associated with them. They're a multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar company. I don't know how big they are. They're huge.
I actually looked this up recently. They have over $1 billion market cap on the New York Stock Exchange. I mean, they're one of the biggest health information technology companies in the world.
Wow. So basically, essentially what we have done is we have given you access to all of their resources and all of our resources to help you in any way that we can. So not only are we doing the upfront marketing demos like what we're talking about right now, but we also do all of the training and implementation whenever you sign up a new client. We get them all trained up on these platforms and get them to a go live date on your behalf. And then when they go live, we hand it back over to your company to do the day-to-day processing. So we're doing a ton of heavy lifting, not only on the front end marketing, but on the back end as well. So it's a really cool relationship that we've got.
It's a huge benefit of being an American Business Systems owner.
Sure. Yeah.
Anybody can go buy software off the shelf, learn how to do medical billing and coding, and go to a billing and coding school or whatever. But putting all the pieces together and also having access to the best technology is going to be next to impossible unless you have a lot of background in this industry. So partnering with American Business Systems gives you that edge, and you get to take advantage of not just our partnership with NextGen, but all of our technology partnerships that we've developed over almost 3 decades. We bring a lot to the table when it comes to technology partners. We have a nationwide network of certified medical revenue managers, and they're able to bring doctors right to the doorstep of our technology partners. You make money, our technology partners make money, and we make money when you're successful. So that's why the whole system works so well. Let's jump into some of the kind of more detailed benefits here. So
you must be doing a really good job because there's no questions at all.
Yeah, no questions at all.
Oh,
hey, there we go, Esther.
Right when I said that, one came in. Yeah.
If you would have just held off 10 more seconds, we would have had the question pop up. Thank you, Esther. That is a great question. And we will get to that here in a few minutes. About 10 minutes before the hour, we'll take time to answer questions. And please feel free, add as many questions in there. It's a lot of fun to answer questions live. So we'll get to those here shortly. So let's backtrack and let's look from a bird's eye view on the sales process that our owners use. So as we mentioned, the first step is the practice analysis. You want to gather the information, get a really detailed view of how that practice operates. And then you've got the 1-2 punch. You've got the proposal, which is going to show the financial incentive, how much increase in revenue that particular doctor is going to see from your services. And we couple that with the software demo that our next gen liaison team will give to your doctor that's going to show the time and efficiency gains, that extra incentive to help tighten up the workflows and everything. I'm going to remind you again, I say this all the time. Over half of the doctors that do a demo of our iClaim system move forward with the system implementation and the contract to do the billing with our owners. It's absolutely incredible. If you follow the steps and you pay attention during training, you're going to get to take advantage of this incredibly high closing ratio as well. And it's a lot of fun to see. I mean, Adam and I get to see kind of behind the scenes our owners when they get that very first successful client. We're celebrating just as much as our owners are because that's the reason we've been around for 30 years. It's because the system works. And when you follow the system, it's so awesome to see people changing their lives through this business model.
Yep, it really is. I mean, we hear stories from owners all the time that they have been able to not only replace their income that they had at their job, but surpass. Our upper 20 percenters, some of them are doing 7 figures annually now. They've got hundreds and hundreds of clients, dozens of data entry people, sales reps, office space, the whole 9 yards. You don't have to work that hard if you don't want to. A lot of people keep it small and home-based, but it can be grown to whatever you want it to be. So it's just fantastic. It's whatever you want this business to be.
7 figures is great, but what about just 6 figures? People want to make 6 figures. How do I make 6 figures? 6 figs, man. I need to make 6 figs.
That's pretty easy to do. Yeah, pretty easy to do.
So you can make 6 figures with 4 clients. Sometimes 3, sometimes 2. It depends on if it's a group of doctors, if it's specialty medicine. You can very quickly cash flow in a business like this. Now, if you think about this too, if you're making a 6-figure income, like let's just say that you go out and you get 3 or 4 clients, you're making, let's just say $100,000 a year, and you do this for 5 or 10 years, you got 4 clients, and then you say, you know what, I'm ready to retire and go, chill on a beach somewhere. Well, you can sell your business, $100,000 annual revenue business. How much would you be able to sell that for? Typically a 2x. So typically $100,000 a year revenue business you can sell for $200,000. Not too shabby for a $28,000 investment. Not too shabby at all. And you can do that in a year easily.
Yep.
Okay.
Pretty flexible business.
Esther was nice enough to put a question in there. I only see one, so I'm going to remind everybody again, if you have questions about the sales process, giving demos, practice analysis, how we get there, if you have questions about the system itself, type those questions in the Q&A panel, and we will get to those here in about 5 to 10 minutes. But let's talk about some system features. Now, Adam, you want to talk a little bit about our competition? I ran across this picture the other day, and I thought, man, I've got to put this picture in a webinar. Hopefully, it's coming through to everybody. So the guy's got a keyboard plugged into a microwave.
Yeah, when you sent me that picture, that actually took me a minute to realize that was a microwave. I was cracking up laughing. But that's a pretty good example. Yeah. There's really, we hardly have any competition. I mean, there's a lot of different, software companies that want to sell you software. There's a lot of medical billing training courses online. There's a lot of different ways to kind of get bits and pieces of what we do. There is a competitor that we do have in California that has an old server-based software system that they built in 1994, Jason. Believe it or not, they're still selling the same software that they built in 1994. So you have to take a CD. You know what a CD is, right? Like a little plastic disc with a hole in the middle. And you put it in a CD drive in your computer. I don't know about you, but I haven't had a CD drive in like 15 years. And I have a Mac. So I would be totally out of luck if I bought this software. Anyway, very inefficient, older technology. And they charge their users for different user seats and software updates and all kinds of stuff. You got to do your own backups. You've got patient data residing on your hard drive. I mean, I could just go on and on and on about how terrible it is.
VPN connections, if you're accessing the information remotely, installing a server, hiring an IT guy, you've got to whittle your own mouse for your computer out of a block of wood. It's really challenging. We can move on. Basically, if you're familiar with the technology in this industry, billing, practice management, and electronic health record systems, I've done probably thousands of demos as in the 16 years that I've worked with ABS. For those who I do demos for who have experience on these kinds of systems, every single demo I've done for someone like that with experience, they've said, this system is remarkable. We have a lot of bells and whistles and features. With NextGen, our technology partner, we hold 7 patents. We've got some features no other system on the planet has. And we're going to talk about a couple of those now. So, one of the features is real-time eligibility. So this is kind of a cool feature. It's not an exclusive feature. There's a few other systems that have real-time eligibility, but basically what this is, when you don't feel well and you call your doctor on the phone and they take your information, they're going to say, who's your insurance carrier? And then what they want to do is they want to verify that you have eligible insurance in place. In other words, your insurance is active. So if they file a claim, they can actually get a claim paid because you actually have insurance. There's different ways to do that. Back in the old days, the doctor's office would have to call the insurance company and wait on hold and then give somebody on the phone your subscriber ID number, and then they'd look it up and they'd say, oh yeah, this person has insurance. We have real-time eligibility built right into the practice management system. It's pretty cool. We're able to, in a couple of seconds, get real-time feedback that shows that patient on the phone has eligible insurance in place. Pretty cool feature. We've got another feature too that is kind of in the same realm. Now, this is an exclusive feature. This is a patent pending feature. We're the only system on the market. This is the first feature that we show in demos to the doctors, our NextGen liaison team shows. And what this is automatic chart creation. So think about you're the receptionist for a doctor's office, right? And a patient calls you and you say, hey, Dr. So-and-so's office. And the patient says, oh, I need to see the doctor. And the receptionist will usually say, oh, have you seen the doctor before? Or is this your first time to see the doctor? Now, why do they ask that question? Because if you've seen the doctor before, they can just look your name up and you already have a record in the system. If you have not seen the doctor before, that form on the left has to be filled out. That's a patient registration form. And now you go into, can I get your name? It's Jason, and they start to fill out this form. The problem here is lots of mistakes happen on that form. Those mistakes carry over to the billing screens. You submit that on the claim gets rejected because the receptionist typed in the name wrong or the date of birth or whatever identifying information. iClaim has an exclusive feature that allows the receptionist to do one of these electronic eligibility checks, access the information directly from the patient's insurance company, and then automatically create a brand new patient chart and import all of that patient demographic information. It's a little complex to talk about kind of on a webinar like this. It's much easier to do during a software demo, but I can tell you this feature closes deals. Anything you want to add to the automatic chart creation? I mean, this is kind of our crown jewel.
Yeah, we got to move quick through this, but this right here, this one is a game changer. Literally, I have done demos for doctors that I've heard them mutter to their office manager, "Wow, I've never seen anything like that." Like, they have not seen such an efficient way of verifying the insurance and pulling the demographics from the insurance company's database. And the reason why that's so important is when you send that claim in, the insurance company can't deny you if anything is wrong with the demographics because it's what they had on file already. So this big feature right here is what's really contributing to the lowered rejection rates, lower denial rates. It's really great.
Yeah. If you haven't gotten the demo of the iClaim system yet, contact your rep and get a demo. Some of these features will blow your mind. And certainly it's a big reason why doctors move forward in droves when they see the demo. So the next feature that we have is gathering the medical history from the patient. You know, how much do you hate sitting in the waiting room, filling out page after page of forms on that clipboard the first time you see a doctor? Even if I've seen the doctor before, it's like, how are there so many forms to fill out? You've got all my information. You know, I have to write my address 10 times and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, with our patient portal, the patient does not have to do that. They can sit at home on the couch, access their own private HIPAA-compliant secure patient portal. And as you can see on the screen there, they can add the allergies and immunizations and prescription history and surgeries and all that kind of medical history. And it goes directly into the patient's chart in our electronic health record system. A huge time saver. And it certainly is better for the patient and the doctor's team.
Even if they're a brand new patient, they can still go to the portal before their visit and fill out everything on the portal before they get there. So it's just a huge time saver, very efficient to have all that data in there already. Yeah.
It's an awesome feature. Now, not everybody will use it, but those who do save a lot of time, and it certainly helps the doctor and their staff. Okay, a crosswalk. What's a crosswalk? What is that? I did demos for about 10 years on the system before I realized this feature was there. You know, I'm slow, but I get there eventually. So a crosswalk is a pretty cool feature. So people, if you're looking into a medical billing business, you probably run across ICD-10, the diagnosis code database. So currently, anyone who files a medical claim in the United States has to submit a diagnosis code from the ICD-10 database. That changed in October of 2015. It used to be ICD-9. Lo and behold. Anyway, so if you are working with an older doctor who's closer to retirement and you want to get the old ICD-9 codes that doctor's familiar with and you want to convert them to ICD-10, it's called a crosswalk. We've got it built right into the system. You can click on the ICD-9 code. It'll automatically map the corresponding ICD-10 codes, and you can get right to your next claim. Big time saver. The alternative to this, and we're one of the very few systems that has this, the alternative is going to a government website, doing the lookup manually, and then copying the code into your software. Ours is way faster and easier. We got a couple more features here, and then we're going to get to questions. I'm just going to kind of click through these. Get a demo. You'll enjoy it, and you'll see all these live, and it's much easier on a live system. Denial Defender is another proprietary audit technology that we use. Basically, what this does is it simulates the claim being filed with the insurance company. So it's going to analyze the codes, and it's going to tell you if there's a problem with the codes that you're using on that particular claim. Get a demo, we'll show you how it works, but it's one of the big reasons why we have such an incredibly low rejection rate, which, by the way, I don't know if we've said the rejection rate. iClaim has less than a 2% rejection rate nationwide. It's the lowest rejection rate in the nation. So that's not a bad statistic as well to throw out to your
national average is over 30% rejection.
I think I was talking over you. Say that again.
Yeah, the national average for rejections when you take into account all the other software systems is 30%.
Yeah.
So when you can tell a doctor we can reduce your rejections down to less than 2%, they're going to say, prove it, show me, let's do it.
I just saw a question come across from Alex on the clearinghouse. Great question, Alex. We're going to get to that in about 2 minutes. Okay, prescribing tools. So doctors basically have two different things they can do. If you show up as a patient and something's not right, you don't feel well, the doctor has two basic paths to go down. One is prescribing medications. The other is procedures or treatments, right? I'm being very general here, but those are the two basic tools in the tool belt. For prescribing, that's usually the first step. No matter what the issue is, you go into the doctor, something's wrong, they're first going to try a medication before they're going to get the scalpel out and cut into you. I'm being general here, but doctors spend a lot of time prescribing. We've got some incredible features in our prescribing, our e-prescribe module. I'm just going to get these really quickly and get a demo. We'll go into a lot of more detail here. So e-prescribe is built in. E-prescribe is when you submit the prescription electronically to the pharmacy. So there's no more paper prescription pad. The doctor just selects the prescription, sends it out. It's probably going to be ready by the time the patient gets out of the exam and gets to the pharmacy to pick it up. So e-prescribe is built in. We can even, in our system, we can e-prescribe controlled substances. You can see there the arrow pointing to tramadol. Tramadol is a controlled substance. It's a painkiller, kind of like hydrocodone, Vicodin. Some people know it by the brand name. So there's not many systems on the market that allow e-prescribe for controlled substances. So for doctors in pain management, chronic conditions where they are prescribing these controlled substances, that's a deal closer. We close a lot of deals with our controlled substances e-prescribe. And then another one on here are SureScripts. SureScripts is kind of like a credit report from the pharmacy industry. If a doctor runs a SureScripts report on their patient, not only does it show their own prescriptions, it shows all of the prescriptions that patient has had filled, any pharmacy, any doctor nationwide in the last 2 years. So it's a really kind of transparent view of all the prescriptions that patient has gotten. I'm going to add one more here. We're the only system in the world that has electronic prescription pre-authorizations. This is a pretty new feature. Prescription pre-authorizations, think about things like chemotherapy drugs, HIV medications, these monthly medications that sometimes the patient is on for life. Those are sometimes thousands and sometimes tens of thousands of dollars a month. So the insurance companies do not allow the doctor to just prescribe it and you go down to CVS and pick it up and then the insurance company's on the hook for 10 grand a month. You have to get these authorizations done before the doctor can prescribe. Well, guess what? The insurance companies make it really hard. You got to call on the phone and the doctor's staff gets tied up doing this. We have the world's only electronic prescription pre-authorization. If you're working with chronic care physicians who have chronic care patients and they have these expensive types of medications, it's a deal closer for you. Anyway, much, much, much more. Get a demo from your rep. Whoever sent the email, just look at the signature of the email that you got when you were invited to this webinar. Contact your rep, ask for a demo, and look at these things live. You'll be very impressed by some of these features. Anything to add, Adam?
That about covers it, man. As you can see, there's a lot to the system. So like Jason keeps saying, get a demo, ask your rep for a demo, and you'll see a full hour presentation of how this thing really knocks it out of the park with the doctors. Yeah.
It's actually really tough to do the demo in an hour. It's so difficult to not go past an hour because there's just so much packed into our platform. All right, so lots of good news, 50% closing ratio with our demos and everything. Now it's time for some bad news. Adam, I'm going to let you be the bearer of bad news here.
All right.
Take it away.
Sad trumpet. Sad trombone. So we have rolled out so many new products and services and technology partnerships in the past year or so that our value has really gone up, to be completely honest with you all. So our price will be increasing January 1st. The price right now is $27,990. So through December 31st, if the price is $27,990, it will be going up. And before you type in, what is it going up to? We don't know yet. We're still having meetings. We're trying to decide. My dad wants this thing to be, 35, 40,000. So we're probably not gonna go that high. Don't freak out. But we know the value of this thing. We know that you can make your money back in under a year with just one client. I mean, there's not many businesses and franchises that can say that at all. So we're pretty proud of the value that we bring in the business that we're offering here, the package.
I want to point something out. Our competitors' comparative package to ours is 45 grand. So
good point.
I want to be at 45 grand. It's if you want to compare apples to apples, let's just go right to the same investment as well. But hopefully we won't do that. All right, so let's start getting into some questions. We've got some excellent ones. If you haven't already typed in your question, go to the Q&A panel and type it in. There's a lot of good ones here. Adam, do you see any that you'd like to start with?
Yeah, Esther said, are the physician or medical groups contracts linked to ABS? Are they generated by ABS or by each of our businesses? So I think I'm going to try to answer this, and I hope I'm answering it properly. But Esther, you're creating your own individual business entity with this. You're not going to be operating as American Business Systems. We do have the contracts ready to go for your company. And it's basically just kind of a fill in the blanks kind of thing. So when the doctors sign the contract, they are signing a contract directly with them and your company, and they're going to be paying you, roughly 5 to 9% and a big setup fee as well, usually, which somebody else asked about that as well. And so that's how it works. So we have all the contracts, any document that you can think of where you're like, oh, do I need to create this document for my business? No, we've already created every single document you can think of, but they are directly contracted with you. So hopefully I answered that right.
I think that is right. I'll add one more thing to that. We've been doing this for almost 30 years. And when I say that you're partnering with a company like ABS for a reason, that reason is all this stuff is already done for you. If you start your own business and you go out and get software and take the billing course, good luck. It's not just about the software and knowing how to file a claim. It's business infrastructure, marketing, all this other stuff too. Great question, Esther, but everything you need is on the licensee support website. I'm going to add one more nugget here. You can change the contracts as well. You can choose to change the language. You can change the pricing. It's your business. You can do what you want with those contracts. So they're available for you. I'll take the next one here from Rob. Rob asks, what is the average startup cost to the physician or medical group? That's a great question, Rob. So the baseline fee for implementation, the setup fee for implementation of the iClaim system is $250. That's it, $250. Now, what our owners sometimes do is they will premium price that setup fee because you're going to be involved in the setup of the business of the platform. You're going to be facilitating that. You're going to be making sure that everyone on the doctor's staff gets trained with our implementation team with NextGen, but it's $250 as a cost. Our owners can charge anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500 as a setup fee, and that's very much standard for the industry.
Yep. Good stuff. All right, so I'll take one. I'll take the next one here. Jonathan is asking, how do you get in front of the clients or the doctors? Marketing? Well, Jonathan, that is a really, really long answer to that question. We have developed and kind of been perfecting our marketing methods over the years. We have about a dozen different really solid marketing methods that we help you with from the word go. As soon as you graduate your training, we help you put together what we call a jumpstart marketing plan, and it's going to be customized to you and your goals for the business. So a lot of it has to do with getting business through referrals, networking, business partnerships, strategic partnerships. We actually show you how to meet and develop relationships with people in healthcare and outside of healthcare who can refer you to doctors and office managers. We did a webinar, Jason and I did a webinar recently where we talked specifically about the marketing methods. So we can send you a link to that webinar. But one of the big ones is partnering up with medical sales reps and using them as a referral source. for your business. So if you want to get more detail on that, get with your rep and we can shoot you a link to that webinar that goes into all those different marketing methods. Nothing to do with really cold calling or knocking on doors. That's at the very, very bottom of the list of all these really effective methods that we have.
Yeah, good question, Jonathan. So I'm going to take the next one from Alex. Alex is asking, is ABS the only platform with the clearinghouse embedded in the system? And Alex, I think I understand your question here. To be very brief, American Business Systems partnered with NextGen. NextGen acquired our prior technology partner, which was a company called Health Fusion. The reason NextGen, over $1 billion market cap company, the reason they acquired Health Fusion is because Health Fusion not only designed the clearinghouse, they did the clearinghouse first, and then they designed the software to only work with our own private clearinghouse. So yes, Alex, as far as I know, we're the only platform on the market that has a clearinghouse that was specifically designed for the software platform, and it's private and no other system can plug into it. Every other system that I've seen on the market, they design the software first, and then they say, here's a list of 10 different clearinghouses that it'll work with. We have a huge advantage here. And again, less than a 2% rejection rate with our clearinghouse.
Yep. Do you want to take this next one? I don't know if there is any money to be made there. Is there for e-prescribing? Esther?
No, that's,
huh?
Yeah, that's more just a feature for the doctors. It's a time saver. It's also, it's a little more secure instead of having a piece of paper that, the patient's going to walk around with, or that, an employee at the doctor's office could take one of the prescription pad pages. It's just a more secure and easier and faster way to prescribe.
The question from Esther was, how lucrative can e-prescribing be? And that's not really a money generator. It's just a feature of the system that we have. The big money for you is, of course, making a percentage of all of the revenues that they're collecting from insurance and from patients as well, because there are a lot of features that help collect on the patient side. So you get to invoice for that money as well. So let's see. Kathy is asking, what is the implementation time? That's a good question, Kathy. A lot of it, there's a lot of different factors. The doctors can use all of the platforms that we have, and that's obviously, best practices. That's what we want, but that's not always going to be the case. Sometimes the doctor will want to continue using their existing EHR platform, and a lot of times we can actually integrate the iClaim platform into other competing EHR systems, so the doctor doesn't have to learn something new. So it's really cool. So it just depends on what they're going to be using, but implementation time can take anywhere from 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, somewhere around that range. That's typically what we're seeing for an implementation time. And again, this is something that we are doing for you. You're just basically guiding the doctors and making sure that they're all attending their training sessions and everything is going smoothly. And that's it. That's all that you do. We do all the actual training of the system. So
I want to add just one more blip on top of that. Kathy, this is an excellent question. Typically, our implementations with our NextGen implementation team are less than 30 days. And if you're familiar with this industry, having an implementation time on a system like this in less than 30 days is unheard of. 4 to 6 months is the industry average for a platform implementation in a private practice like this. 4 to 6 months. We can have everybody up and running, trained, and the system configured in less than 30 days. It's like jet fuel. I mean, it's really, really fast. So it's a great asset for you as you're building your business, because you don't have the doctor waiting around getting more and more upset as month after month after month drags on. I'm going to take this next one from Alex. Alex says, do you have a script for an ABS licensee to follow when pitching to doctors? Absolutely. We have developed scripts over almost 30 years. Every single interaction that you have, not only with the doctor, but with a medical sales rep that you might use, with a referral partner that might be introducing you to physicians, the doctor, the office manager, the needs analysis, all of these things are scripted out. Cynthia will teach this during your Jumpstart training and give you the ability to have a lot of confidence when you're going into the marketing environment.
PowerPoints, printed marketing collateral, videos, all kinds of stuff that you can use to present. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. One more question here from Yamana. She's asking, what happens to the patient's information after the patient expires? Is there a system that allows the loved ones to clear the final expense report that will allow the account to be fully closed? Yes, actually, they would be able to log into the patient portal and download all the entire medical records and medical history of the patient and close out that account through the patient portal. So good question there. Yes.
Yeah, hey, we got to the end of the list. We did it.
All right, we did it.
Good question. Yeah, let's go ahead. We have a couple quick things, and then we'll wrap up for today. How do you get started in the business? Hopefully you're already talking with an ABS rep, and they're guiding you through the different steps. But here are the different due diligence steps that we utilize in our process to help educate you so that you can make a good determination if this business is right for you and your family. We have a downloadable research guide. Adam mentioned that at the beginning of the webinar. If you haven't seen it, if you don't know how to find it, contact your rep. Our YouTube channel, all of these webinars that we do every single week, we post these on our YouTube channel. Every signature that you'll receive from an ABS rep is going to have the YouTube link in the signature. Click on it, hundreds and hundreds of hours of content, and you can't go wrong. There's some great webinars out there. The ABS owner reference list. The best way to research a business is to talk to a lot of different business owners in that industry. So we actually give you some names and numbers of ABS owners you can reach out and chat with. Now, we've talked about this all throughout the presentation today. Get a live demo of the iClaim system from your rep. If you haven't seen the software live and in action, I promise you'll enjoy it. The last steps are, we're happy to send over a purchase agreement for you to review when you're at that stage and you've done your research and you feel like this might be the right step for you and your family. Ask for your rep to send you the purchase agreement. It's a simple 4-page document written in plain English, and we'd be happy to answer any questions. And then we set the funding date and your very first training date with Cynthia, and we ship the business package out, and you're off to the races. I want to mention one more thing before we wrap up here. American Business Systems does have an unconditional 30-day money-back guarantee. I have a mentor in the business that I've worked with for quite some time with an organization that I'm a part of. And he has a phrase. He says, you can never get to 100% certainty in business. Meaning if you have a business opportunity, you can never get your decision to the place where you're 100% certain. He said, try to get to 90%. When you're at 90%, pull the trigger. That's what this guarantee is about. There's no way for anyone to be 100% confident that this business or any business is the right business. So we give an unconditional 30-day money-back guarantee. We let you go through training. We ship the business package out to you. If for any reason you discover this is not a good fit during the training with full access to support, we'll return your entire investment. So that's something no other franchise has. If you have any other questions, feel free to call the 866 number right there or send an email to info@absystems.com. You should be able to look in your inbox and find an email from your rep, and they'd be happy to assist as well. Now, don't forget, next week, we've got an interview with Tracy Clark, a very successful ABS business owner. So don't forget to check that out. Adam, that's a wrap.
We did it. We went a little bit over. Thanks for hanging on with us, guys. We will be posting this recording up if you want to watch it again or share it with anybody. And we will see you guys next week.
Take care, everyone.
All right. See ya.